Welcome to Out Loud, a comedy podcast where I talk with queer comedians about identity as well as just talk and shop about the comedy community. I'm your host, Corbin Willmorth, and I'm here because, well, what comedian just doesn't have a podcast nowadays? Welcome to today's episode of Out Loud, a queer comedy podcast, and as always, thank you so much for tuning in. As you guys may have noticed, we've kind of had a bit of like a 2-week hiatus. I got some explaining to do real quick. So I've had a few things kind of happen recently that's kind of made me put this podcast on the back burner for a little bit. The first one being that my fiance and I had to move a friend of ours out of Florida because if you know anything about what's going on in Florida, it is very much not safe for queer people there. So we figured we have a spare bedroom. They want to get the fuck out of Florida. So we spent about a week getting that person over here. And then I broke my glasses. And for a while, I was kind of just constantly putting it back together and applying new coats of super glue. But at this point, the super glue is not working. So I finally bit the bullet and bought some new glasses. They're not here yet. I ordered them off of Zenny. I ordered 2 pairs just in case one breaks. I have a backup pair. And so I'm kind of just waiting for those to come in the mail. But while I'm waiting, I'm kind of just going blind right now. Like, I'm actively not wearing my glasses while recording this. So if I make any mistakes in the editing of this, you know why. I can't see. And then lastly, I've kind of been doing a little side quest. I've been working on something. It's still comedy related, but it's not comedy. Like it's not stand up. It's not this podcast. It is something entirely. It's not something that I am in control of. It's not a project that I'm spearheading. It's a project I'm a part of. And I can't say any more than that, or at least I won't, until next week's episode, because next week's episode is going to be about that. But anyway, for that kind of list of reasons, I haven't had any time to work on the podcast in the last 2 weeks. So now, here we are. We're getting this show on the road. God, I hope that wasn't a gunshot that just went off outside. I live across the street from a university, so that would be fucking bad. That could just be car backfiring. I have no idea, but all I know is that's freaking my cat the fuck out. Anyway, enough of the American living experience. I'm just going to have to power through it. Anyway, so today's guest is from Brooklyn, NYC. You may know her from the Little Birdie comedy duo or from their work with the Zero improv group. Or maybe you've seen her performing at Pete's Candy Store, The Pit, or even the Bushwick Comedy Club. My guest on today's episode is Lizzie. Hi.
I'm out there, I'm running. And these 3 guys on bikes just sort of come out of nowhere and they start circling me and they're spitting on me and they're calling me like the F word, you know? It's like what I imagined homophobia was like before cell phones. And I would say the worst part about the interaction was that they were right. But I was in running clothes. And I don't really have a better word for it. Everyone looks like a faggot in running clothes. Like, you go to a run club, it's like women in digital watches and shoulder muscles and men in short shorts and neon tank tops, all straight. It's like when you go to the grocery store and you buy one of those pre-bottled smoothies. It looks like there's fruit in there, but it is entirely xanthan gum.
This episode is honestly a blast to record, and it honestly wasn't too long. Like, I kind of wish it was a little longer, but you know, we all got places to do. We all got things to see. We all got Zoom calls to not be in, you know. That's not me throwing shade, by the way. That's just me fucking around. But anyway, here is the interview. Like I said, because I'm kind of flying blind, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of editing I'm going to do on my end. So be prepared to hear a lot of ers, us, and like awkward silences. Because ers, us, and the awkward silences, not to say that like this is just what this person does, but that's just every episode that I edit is just me cutting all of that out. Anyway, enough with this like awkward rambling. I'm just gonna post the interview here. I'll see you guys in the ad break.
All right, recording in progress. So why don't we start off with you telling the audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Lizzie. Hi. I'm a comedian based here in New York City. I do stand up, I do improv, I do some on camera work when I can. Um,
Hmm.
I've been in New York City for about a year and a half now.
Okay.
Um, and I host a monthly show with my best friend from college, who we do a lot of comedy together, which is great fun. And I'm on an improv team called Zero. We perform a bunch, and we're doing a lot of festivals this upcoming summer, which has been great. Um, that's pretty much what I do.
That is awesome. And so this best friend from college, I think I found your guys' Instagram.
Yeah.
Twin dog underscore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Um, Yeah, so we host a monthly show called Little Birdie. It's our like stand-up showcase that we do. We've been
Hmm.
doing that since pretty much right after we moved to New York City in June 2024. So we started that in fall 2024 sometime. I'm doing it monthly ever since. It's been going great. Every month we get a bigger audience and it's so much fun. And
Hmm.
then we also do two prov together when we can. It's not
Yeah.
so much one of our main selling points per se, but it's really fun when we get to do that together. And so we take that to festivals, and we'll open for our friends' shows and things like
Okay.
that.
When did you both kind of have this like realization that you wanted to start like an improv like duo?
Yeah. So Shenba and I met in college. We went to Williams College together where we co-ran the sketch and stand-up comedy group. She was in improv in college, I was not. I just started doing improv and I moved to New York City because it seemed like a great way to make friends. And I
Right.
was right. It was a great way to make friends. And I also found that I really loved how collaborative and um, stress-free the environment was.
Okay.
So it really ended up becoming pretty quickly what I love to do the most. Um, and so once I sort of got confident in improv, it just became this clear thing of like, well, we should start doing it as a duo. That'd be great. Um,
Okay.
and it's been totally fun.
Yeah, no, that sounds really fun. I need to find people in my area who want to do improv. I've thrown around the idea of doing it.
Yeah, it's such a like lift at the beginning to set up like, okay, we're doing a weekly practice time and we're getting a
Hmm.
coach and all this stuff. But once you find a group of people where it really just clicks, it's so much fun. Everyone just prioritizes it in their week to week is how it ends up. And that's the best feeling.
Okay. Are you ready to get into my list of questions here?
Yeah, very much so.
All right. What's something you're obsessed with right now that hasn't been turned into a joke yet?
Oh, that's such a good question. Um, okay, I recently started knitting a pair of socks for one of my friends.
Okay.
I'm a big knitter. That's one of my non-comedy hobbies. But only after I started knitting her a pair of socks did I find out that she had size 13 feet.
Oh,
And I'm like, I agreed to do this as a birthday gift. Like, there's kind of a deadline on the biggest socks like anyone's ever had to knit in their entire life.
real.
And I know it's like such a pressure on me right now. I don't even know how to joke about it, even though it's so funny to be like, oh, totally. Yeah, I would love to knit you something. Like, you're one of my dear friends. And then it's just like, oh my God, it's an unachievable task. I've never met someone with feet that big.
I didn't know my friend was from Netflix's Tall Girl.
No, seriously, right? I was like, you could have requested a hat and it would have been no problem.
Oh yeah, no. Um, one thing I've learned talking with people on this podcast is that there's a difference between queer comics and comics who are queer. Do you consider yourself to be a queer comic or a comic who just so happens to be queer?
Yeah, that's a great question. I do consider myself a queer comic in the sense
Um,
that so much of my queerness has affected the person that I've become today. Um, it was really an experience growing up and through college and through moving to New York. I feel like being queer permeates a lot of my social experiences and experiences in the world. So when I started writing comedy, I really like was kind of averse to being
mhm.
the girl who's always joking about being a lesbian. I was like, oh, there are more interesting things about me. There are more interesting things about the world. But the more I grew in confidence in being able to do stand up in a way that was true to my viewpoints, and I could really speak to my own the unusual experiences I have that are funny.
Right.
I found it coming up more and more. And I've just grown to be confident in the fact that I believe that I can talk about my experience as a gay person in a way that's unique, and it's ultimately more revealing about the queer experience than just someone who can do gay jokes because they're allowed to, right?
Right.
Like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, there's a little bit of a like internet latency, so I if I did cut you off, I didn't mean to.
oh, no, no, no problem at all.
All right. So I guess that kind of answered my next question a bit, which was what does it mean to you to be a queer comic? That kind of answered two questions in one there.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, it's something we have to label for a reason, right? Like,
Right.
it's not common. And yet it's so, I think just in the past like 4 years, the social zeitgeist surrounding being queer has shifted so radically in a
Yes,
way
exactly.
where when I like started college in 2020, I'm 23 now. I I was so like, why am I still the only gay person I know? Like, this is crazy. I left my hometown in Michigan thinking I would maybe feel a little more like I could be myself in a new place. And I still was like, oh, it's just the world's just like not there yet in the way that I'd hoped it
Right.
would be. But then over the past four, I guess 6 years now, it has blossomed in such a way that so many young people are so comfortable in being ambiguous about their sexuality and in being questioning, exploring. But there is just still this place in performance for all marginalized identities that these are not the people who get asked to get up on stage because you're ultimately talking about something that statistically most of the audience doesn't relate to.
Right.
And so being able to discuss your identity in a way that doesn't put down your own people, that really aids in the understanding of the world is we're all people who get each other and we can be different and it can be funny
Hmm.
is really it's a skill and it's a responsibility we have to be a positive influence in the
Yeah.
social sphere regarding queerness.
Yeah, I do think there is a lot of truth to that statement as well. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It's so much of it is just based on your lived experience. I mean, of course, we all embellish stories and make things up
Right.
to punch up jokes, but everything I say comes from something real that I felt or I did or you know.
Yeah. Um, what's the most unhinged crowd reaction you've ever gotten?
Oh my God. Um, I guess okay, there was one time I was telling a joke about a time when I was like hate crimed and
Cool.
that, and usually like people go like boo after I say that, but there was one time where people clapped and I know that they meant to be like, oh, like, oh, like you're okay, like we're so
Woo,
sorry, but I
yeah,
was
hate
like
crimes. Let's go.
clapping is really funny. Like that's insane. And that just took me off guard because usually people go, oh, in support, but I was like, wow, this is like a new level of support.
No, maybe they were actually genuinely like, "Woo, fuck yeah, this person got hate crime," but then
Yeah,
saw everyone around them was not reacting. They're like, "Oh,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
that's terrible. Oh my
I know. It
god.
was so funny.
Oh man, yeah, no, that sounds crazy." Um, what belief about comedy did you have early on that you've totally unlearned now?
Oh, that's a great question. I I did not grow up as a performer at all, and I
Hmm.
only started performing when I was like 19 or 20. And growing up, I like had this belief that performance is such an inherently like egotistical thing to do.
Hmm.
Um, And you grow up a Midwestern Catholic. It's sort of like don't look at me ever.
Right, right, right.
That's sort of what you learn to be. But the more I engaged with not only people who perform, but people who consume media as well, I realized there's a real nobility to being so vulnerable with essentially an unlimited amount of strangers with the
Yeah.
way the internet works, um, in an effort to create a community over laughing about the same thing, over like finding the joy in the mundane or the painful or things that just are purely humorous. And I think I didn't realize that until I met so many people that don't write or perform
Right.
and just love to experience. I didn't realize like, oh, like all of television is everyone loves to witness this because you're telling stories and experiencing it. And so I was able to kind of erase how I felt about live performance after sort of making the connection of everyone loves to watch and hear stories.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a common trait amongst people I've noticed. But performance isn't egotistical at all. It's just that egotistical people do performance.
Totally. That's a really good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. Um, when talking with a lot of queer comics about the comedy community as a whole, I've gotten a lot of mixed reactions. Some say it's one of the most welcoming and understanding communities that there is, and others say that it's this incredibly toxic culture. Where do you stand on that, and or do you have a different opinion altogether?
Yeah. I think there are so many moving parts to the comedy scene in New York City, at least, because it's a big place.
Right.
So it's there are some weeks where I'll, have done my shows and open mics and whatever, and I'll be like, oh my God, like what a disaster. I like can't believe I'm the weird gay girl at all of these things.
Right.
But then there are other weeks where I'm like, wow, like thank God there are so many people like me. And not only are there people like me, there are people like me who are really successful. And
Hmm.
I feel lucky to have so many role models above me of gay people have who came up in a scene that was so much worse.
Yeah.
Uh, and there are pockets to these things in New York, like the Brooklyn open mic scene is worlds different than the Manhattan open mic scene. Like that is
Just one borough over, it's like a vast.
truly,
It's
yeah,
really
yes. You take the train one stop and it's like everyone is happy to listen to gay jokes and everyone's on the same page about politics. But you do the same set in Manhattan, you're going to be on either side of you. It's going to be men doing really earnestly sexist jokes.
damn.
Um,
Okay.
which is right. It's really crazy how kind of that old style of club comedy still exists. Um, and again, the improv scene is even further such a friendly community
Uh-huh.
of um, it's so wonderful, especially regarding queer comics. It's like really doesn't feel like a factor that divides at
Hmm.
all. Where even though I don't feel uncomfortable being gay in the Brooklyn stand-up scene, I do still feel like it is kind of a division.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, like this when I talked with a lot of people on this podcast, it's always interesting hearing like the different perspectives from like say here in Spokane, it is kind of like a blend of like, some places are kind of some places are okay. Chicago, it's like, oh, everywhere is cutthroat.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. I talked to someone from like the Austin comedy bubble that's
Mm,
like recently, and they talk about how crazy it is over
yeah.
there.
And I think stand-up in general lends itself to being more cutthroat. I
Right,
certainly feel that here in New York, that stand-up is it's every man for themselves. It's a lot of networking, not a lot of hanging out with your friends.
right.
Even though it's kind of under the guise of we're going to a birthday party, but oh, it's a networking event, absolutely.
No, honestly, that's one thing. I'm like, bro, can I just like go and party? Why do I need to like bust out my
Totally.
portfolio? Why do I need to?
Yeah, yeah. I don't necessarily want to be on tonight.
Can I drink and have a good time? Do I really need to talk about like the
Yeah, why
that's
am I
crazy.
auditioning? Why am I auditioning right now? But there is kind of that feeling in the stand-up scene that's hard to shake.
Why am I bringing a pitch deck? Like what the fuck?
Totally. Yeah, what is that?
But no, but I I think the point I was trying to make there was I think it's crazy that like even within the same city, because like how I understand New York is that it's all one city, but there's like five different like
Yeah.
sects, like the boroughs basically. It's
Mhm.
crazy to imagine that like a city that's like seemingly so unified, you just go over like one like neighborhood and it's like, oh, an entirely different vibe.
Yeah, it's a totally different set of people that hang around.
Yeah, I think that's something that I'm gonna need to wrap my head around. That's a little crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean it's really their night and day. There are people running like the Manhattan stand-up circuit that never crossed paths with in my entire life.
Huh, that's interesting. So,
And I live in Manhattan even. Yeah.
so you live in Manhattan, but you perform in Brooklyn.
I perform a lot in Brooklyn. There are a lot of
Okay.
venues in Manhattan the Manhattan venues I perform at mostly is improv stuff. I don't do too much stand-up in Manhattan, only every now and again.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, a lot of like the up and coming stand-up scene is based in Brooklyn.
Okay. Interesting. If I ever, I don't know, go out to New York, I'll try to look for Brooklyn
Yeah.
instead of Manhattan.
Yeah, hey, call me up.
Okay, will do.
All right, everyone, welcome to this episode's ad break. As always, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this episode for as long as you have. Before we start talking about our sponsors, start plugging social medias and all that stuff, I do want to plug some upcoming shows that Lizzie has as well as ones I have. Right now I'm recording this at 2:30 a.m. on Friday, February 20th, and 2 days from now, Sunday, February 22nd, Lizzie and her improv group, The Zero, are going to be doing a show at 7 p.m. at the Brooklyn Comedy Collective Pigpen, where they're going to be raising money for the Edinburgh Fringe. So please, if you're in the Brooklyn area, please go check that out. It's money for a good cause. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I mean, who doesn't love improv? Today, February 20th, and tomorrow, February 21st, if you are in the Spokane area, please come to the Garland Theater for the Spokane Comedy Film Festival. There's a lineup of 28 short films going on, all under 7 minutes, and it's just a bunch of local comedians showing off their skit work, all this stuff, and it's really, really a good time. Please support Josiah Carlson. Please support the Garland Theater. And hey, you're even going to be supporting me because my short comedy film, Intrusive Thoughts, is going to be playing at the Spokane Comedy Film Festival. So please come check it out. It's going to be a great time. The only social media that Lizzie gave me to plug was her Instagram, so please follow Lizzie at lizzie.hi. Meanwhile, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads at CJW_comedy. You can find my YouTube at simply just CJW Comedy. And you can find my not my Twitter, you can find my Bluesky at cjwcomedy.bsky.social. And then you can find the show on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at Out Loud Comedy Podcast. And now a word from our sponsor, W Energy. Are you like me with chronic insomnia and you're just editing your podcast or even playing Red Dead Redemption 2 into the long hours of the night? Are you also severely addicted to caffeine, but you just hate the excessive amounts of sugar that's in them? Or hell, do you even hate the caffeine crash that's often associated with a lot of energy drink usage? Then, my friend, you need to check out W Energy. W Energy provides jitterless energy blends that come in powder tubs. You just put 1 or 2 scoops into a shaker bottle, shake it up, and you are good to go. Whether you're trying flavors such as Galaxy Grenade, Dud Sludge, or even the Chainsaw Man collab Bleedin' Orange, you know that the energy is just going to get you through the day. Or maybe you're not even looking for energy and you're just looking for some good old electrolytes. Well, guess what? W Hydro's got what you need. Caffeine free and packed with tons of electrolytes, refuel after your workout with flavors such as grandma's lemonade, grapefruit citrus, or even pine berry splash. Right now, if you use code CJW Comedy at checkout, you can get 10% off, or you can get that same deal just by clicking the link in the description. W Energy. It's time to be better. Thank you guys so much for sticking in with this ad break, and thank you so much for dealing with my tired ass. I'm really excited for you guys to check out next week's episode where I talk about this secret project that I've been working on. Well, secret to people who only know me through the podcast. If you've been following me on social media, you might have some inkling as to what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm just going to shut up now and we'll get back to the show.
What's your comedy hot take that could get you canceled by other comics?
Oh my God. Oh, that's such a good question. Oh, I think that we need to be done with jokes about dating apps. I haven't heard someone
Yeah.
say something original about a dating app in a really long time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I'll admit,
that's
but before I even got up and did stand up for the first time, I did have in like my little like Google Doc of notes
yeah,
just like at least 2 bits about Tinder.
totally. Because I mean, it is hilarious and it's
Right.
infuriating, and there's only so many, times you can send a screenshot of a profile to your friends. But
Just
it has been a long time since someone has said something that doesn't just make them seem kind of pathetic.
just pull like a carrot top and you get like a giant like board of the Tinder screenshot just to show the
Yep.
audience.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man. Who is a comedian you would love to open for but are terrified to?
Oh my gosh. That's a good question. I mean, thinking of people that like are performing in New York City. Right now, Mary Beth Barone is doing a bunch of shows at Union Hall. She's doing
Okay.
like one or two a week. And so, like in theory, it's like, oh, she's probably needs a lot of openers. She's probably cycling through a lot of openers.
She probably
And that
is.
would be so, so cool. But I'd be terrified because she's like actually famous from TV and stuff.
Right, yeah,
And that would make me
no.
really nervous.
I get a lot of interesting reactions to that question because so many people are like, oh, they're intimidated by like the status of this person, or oh, they're afraid they're gonna like say something and like fuck up a relationship like with this comic.
Totally. Of like, what if I come off as a loser and then it's like, wow, my whole career's over because Mary Beth Brown thinks I'm a loser.
And then I had one comic say that they weren't necessarily terrified of the comedian, they were terrified of the audience that they know the comedian has.
Ah, that's actually that's feels like really true. It feels like
Do,
that would be a more likely scenario to scare me.
would you, so you would be more scared of an audience than you would of this person? Or like,
Yeah, I guess there's a certain like if someone who is way cooler than me asked me to open for them, I would kind of come in feeling like, wow, like they really gave me a really big compliment. That's amazing.
it's like in
But
school
I
when
have
like
not
the
earned
cool
that from the
person
audience.
introduces you to their cool friends, kind of.
Yes, exactly. Where it's like, okay, I'm sort of coming in with a little bit of an ego boost from this scenario, but I have not earned anything from the audience at all, and that would be
Right.
terrifying.
If you had diplomatic immunity for 24 hours, how would you use it?
Oh my God. Like diplomatic immunity, meaning like I could do anything.
Pretty much, yeah. Like the basis for diplomatic immunity, like this is just the example I always have in my head when I try to explain this to people. Are you familiar with the Batman comics?
Like loosely. I'm not like a
Okay.
major Batman head, but
So there's a storyline in the Batman comics where Jason Todd, who was Batman's second Robin, gets brutally killed by the Joker. And when
ugh,
Batman tries to arrest him, Superman stops him because apparently the Joker has diplomatic immunity because he's the ambassador to Iran.
Oh, so the Joker can kill people
Yeah, if
because
you have diplomatic immunity, you can basically get away with murder.
wow.
Yeah, you
Wait,
can
that's
do
crazy.
that. That's something I think is absolutely crazy.
I honest to God, I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
apparently UN guidelines. If you represent the United Nations, you can like I don't know, like rob a million casinos or something. Like you can do whatever the
Yeah.
fuck you want, basically.
I mean, I'd probably like burn down the police station or something. Like like fuck those guys, you know?
Fuck 'em.
I don't really know what else illegal that I like need to do so bad, you know?
I don't know. That's definitely the least unhinged answer I've had from that question.
I'm just like thinking through like, oh, like what do I like need to do? None of it's illegal,
All right.
except
So,
for that.
um, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you were
No,
saying something.
totally.
Okay. Let's assume you go to therapy, which as a comedian is very likely not happening, but let's just say that it is.
Yeah.
If you could choose any fictional character to be your therapist, who would it be and why?
Mm, that's an awesome question. Um, I think like the therapist from Good Will Hunting, Robin Williams, right?
Mm.
Because he's like good at his job.
Yeah, that is the most common answer I've gotten is
That's
Good
his
Will
whole, that
Hunting.
makes sense. That makes
Yeah,
sense as a common answer.
like oh god, I'm trying to remember who else I've heard people say. Like I know Good Will Hunting is the most common one because like not gonna lie, Good Will Hunting that's like the most worn out VHS on my shelf right now. That
It's
is
awesome.
it is awesome. I fucking love
Oh,
Robin Williams. Oh,
I have another answer. Ted
what-
Lasso.
Ooh,
Because
Ted
he has so
Lasso.
much love in his heart, and
Oh no,
that's a good thing.
real. That's so real. I only just started watching Ted Lasso because I got a free trial to Apple TV.
Oh, nice. That's also how I watched it. Yeah, I don't hate
So
that.
I think Ted Lasso is so fucking good.
It's so
Oh,
good.
oh man. So let's see. We're at that. Damn, we're already at the last like 5 questions. Damn, we're breezing through this quick.
That works.
Uh, how does being queer affect your comedy? How has your perspective made you stand out compared to non-queer comedians?
Yeah, I think, I mean, within the two different realms of comedy, right? I do stand up and I do improv.
Mm-hmm.
With stand up, I think that my queerness affords me like an extra sort of bend on all of my perspectives.
Right.
Um, and I have a sort of command that the audience sort of just has to trust me. Like there are sometimes I do jokes about I grew up doing karate, and so I
Mm-hmm.
do jokes about karate
Right.
and how so many lesbians in the Midwest love karate. And the fact that that's like such a unique experience really affords me the ability to story tell, which is fun. Like no one comes into that set being like, "Oh, like we know, girl, like get to the jokes." But instead, I really like get the opportunity to paint this picture of like where I came from, and I get to make it funny and interesting in ways that would not really be true if I was talking about an experience that so many people shared, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, and when it comes to improv, I think like improv, you know, you come into a scene and you play whatever character in the whole world, like it doesn't matter. And I think um, I see this a lot with queer people. There's no hang up on like, oh, is my character a boy or a girl? Or like we're playing like love interests in this scene. Like
Right.
what is
Right.
the like you're just so freed from so many of those types of character choices that you might be inclined to like put yourself into a box with
Mm-hmm.
when you're either early on doing improv or if you're a straight person doing improv, you're more likely to um, either really play to a stereotype or not want to play to that stereotype
Mm-hmm.
in fear of doing it or being mean or anything like that. But queerness has afforded me such a more open access into being like I can sort of embody whatever I want and I'm not afraid of that.
Right. Okay. Yeah, one I will say the one comment that I did have listening to that
Hmm.
whole thing. You saying lesbians in the Midwest really like karate. I hate how that connected so many dots in my head. That thing
It's
started
so
to
true.
make sense.
It's
What the
like
fuck?
I mean, I don't know if you know any lesbians in the Midwest, but
I know
they are
one.
practicing their kata. I will tell you that much for free.
I know one lesbian who's from. Oh God, where the fuck are they from? I want to say they're from Minnesota, and
Minnesota, they love karate in Minnesota.
just really loves Jackie Chan. I can't explain it. I'm like,
Yes.
what the fuck? Like, I'm like,
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out like how, how did this come to be? Why specifically Jackie Chan? But no,
It's
apparently there's just something about lesbians from the Midwest and karate.
it's like this is powerful. And I think there's also something that's like not so masculine about karate that makes it this sort of like really strong and empowering practice that's also rooted in self-defense, which women need to
Right.
practice self-defense.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, that like makes it something that's like, oh, this is so cool and achievable. Even though as a whole, karate is almost entirely men,
Oh
but
yeah.
when
Oh
it
yeah.
comes to the women, like they are lesbians.
Okay. All right. So let's see. What do you wish someone had told you before your first year of comedy?
Hmm, that's a great question. I mean, I'm gonna think about like my first year of comedy in New York City. I wish I wish someone had told me just how much it means to just show up every day.
Right.
Because it took me a couple months. Like I moved here, I got a job, did all that, had a, like a real, 9 to 5 kind of job. And I did all that stuff, and it was at the start it felt hard to find the energy and find the the time and the balance of fitting in all the comedy I wanted to be doing. But after a couple months, I one day was just like, no, this is what I moved here to do, and it's also my favorite thing in the entire world to do. I am going to do it every day because I do have the time.
Right.
And it changed my life for the better completely. Like I just feel so much happier having poured as much time as I possibly can into this. And I
Hmm.
made so many great friends from that. It's just made my life everything I wanted it to be a year ago. And I wish I had just had someone that pushed me to that conclusion faster and was just like, not everything you do has to be the best thing you do, but
Right.
showing up and being nice to people and listening to others is going to make you better and happier because you're just going to feel constantly in pursuit of what you want.
Okay. That's a really heartfelt statement. You would, yeah, just got to get out and do it every day, and you just wish, you'd known that from the start.
Yeah,
Uh, this is a question that I almost always, oftentimes, skip because a lot of people will kind of answer this question throughout, like
sure.
the podcast, but I feel like I'll ask it now. Do you think there is or will ever be a place for queer comedy in this day and age? Which I feel like you kind of answered a
Hmm.
little bit when you said like as the social climate's kind of changed in the last like 4 years,
Yeah,
how like people are being like we're still a long way from fully accepted, but people are being
totally.
more accepting of queer people and queer performers and like queer
Yeah,
identity that like you think there we could get to some place like that sometime soon, hopefully.
yeah. I think there's absolutely a place blossoming really, really quickly. I mean, there's a lot of shows in New York that are dedicated just to queer comics. And again,
Hmm.
things like that exist because there is no space otherwise, right?
Right.
But the success of them speaks to the fact that it's a desired thing, not and like I said, like more and more as just queerness becomes exponentially more socially normal. When I step on stage, it's less and less am I the first lesbian people have met in their entire lives,
Right.
which like that happens a lot, and that is what kind of creates the difficulty of being the marginalized person, putting yourself on stage and being really vulnerable. But as that goes away, more and more it'll become such a normal thing that this is part of my life, and it's of course, and because it's part of my life, it's what I'm going to talk about, not
Right.
like this is something that has been difficult for me, and now I'm going to talk about it because of that. It'll just be something that everyone understands of like, that's part of your life. It doesn't have to come from this like place of pain so much anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
optimistic about it, of course.
Yeah, I'm optimistic about it too. That's why I started this podcast, is because
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping to spread that optimism.
Yeah. This is an awesome thing you're doing, really, also.
Yeah, thank you so much. And then we're now down to the last question I have here.
Oh.
What kind of legacy do you hope to leave in the world of comedy, and what do you want people to remember you for?
Mm. I I always want to be known as someone who is a strong and thoughtful writer.
Right.
That's something I really pride myself on putting that time into my stand-up. And as my career grows, hopefully to writing television, writing movies, I want that to be something that people associate with me, like, oh, it's
Right.
really well thought out work. But I ultimately want to be known as someone, being a comedian is your goal is to bring joy to other
Hmm.
people, right? Like, and laughter is this beautiful thing that it just erases every other emotion in your body, even if just for a couple moments. And I want to be known as someone who does it on stage, but it's also I live by that.
Right.
That like every day in and out of performance, I love this feeling and what it can do.
Yeah.
And I bring it to all the relationships in my life. Um, that's the kind of life I want to live, and that's how I'd like other people to describe me, you know?
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah. No, that's I will say that is one thing no one expects, is for me to just be like, oh yeah, comedy. Yeah. What is the role of comedy in social change, and can it be used as a tool for activism? Yeah, totally. What legacy do you want to leave?
Yeah, yeah, it really is like, okay, now think about what if you died?
Now think about like how people are going to remember you decades from now. Think of
Yeah. Hopefully as funny and nice, you know?
yeah.
I would
Well,
say those are my top two.
all right. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for sitting down and doing this with me.
Thank
And
you for thinking of me, really.
absolutely, yeah. And what I will say is that we have 7 minutes left in the Zoom call before it forces it to be closed.
Totally.
Plug whatever you want to plug right now. Plug your social medias, plug any upcoming shows. Floor is yours.
Absolutely. Well, you can find me at lizzie.hi on Instagram. That's where I post a lot of my shows. If you're ever in New York City, first weekend of every month, you can find my stand-up show called Little Birdie. Um, and you can find my improv team Zero performing all over all the time. We're going to be in a bunch of different cities this summer, including the Edinburgh Fringe Fest. So
Oh,
follow us on Instagram if you want to see those shows.
all right. Well, hell yeah, there you go. And once again, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You have a good rest of your day.
You as well.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Hope you tune into the next one. Please do me a favor and check out the show notes. There you're going to find our guest's social media as well as the stuff of my own that I'm plugging. I would like to give a shout out to my friend Morningstar for being the one to actually make the profile image for this podcast. Do you know of any other queer comedians that I should contact to see if I can get on this podcast? Let me know and I'll see if I can hunt them down. My name is Corbin Willmorth. Thank you for listening, and as a reminder, make sure you don't keep your head on straight.